this is the end of day 4. I've got the thing tore down, probably 75%. I got to tear the steering mechanism, steering column mechanism, front of it out. And then I've got to tear the balance of the lift lever and the deck height adjustment stuff out of here. Once I get that done, then I can go ahead. I was planning on doing it tomorrow, but it was a push to get this far tonight. Take it down to where I have a sandblaster. I just need to have a compressor that's going to be big enough to run it, so I'm going to take it into where I work. And I've been given permission to use their air compressor and a little room out there, and I'm going to sandblast it and get the frame at least in primer. I'm hoping then, let's see, tomorrow's Wednesday, Thursday, hopefully Thursday I'll have at least the frame in primer. So tomorrow night I'll tear the balance out. I gotta take the balance of the lift mechanism off the back plate. I got the transaxle sitting over here. I can already tell I'm gonna have to replace that seal. And moving around, I could tell there was a little bit of a leak. I'm not seeing any leaks on the hubs and no real play on either side, so that's a good sign. So I might be able to just clean it up and live with it for a while. I know the brake's gonna need a bunch of work, so I'm gonna have to tear the brake apart and rebuild it. So I'll do that while I've got everything pulled apart. On the motor side of the deal, after pulling this thing apart, I come to find out that somebody in the past had, this motor's been rebuilt. I mean, it's got a 10-over piston in it. And it was very, very clean inside. The oil looked fantastic when I pulled it out. I mean, it looked like a brand new quart of oil. And the guy that bought this thing told me it's been sitting for a while. But it's obvious that somebody was changing the oil regularly, so it looked good. There was no sludge in the oil pan or anything. But the one headache was whoever did this, you can see that big old gap up there? This engine is a K321, which is the 14 horse. This 212 tractor came with a 12 horse K301 originally. So this is what they call a deep sump block, and the mounting bolts for the oil pan are actually these out here. These aren't even tapped. They had Healy coils and all these, and they filled all of this along with a 1/2-inch thick layer all the way around with what you got, Permatex or Permagasket, whichever one you want to call it. And so they had all this packed full and everything else here. So I went through, I was planning on initially possibly building a plate that would go over this and then tap these holes out to 7/16 fine thread and make it work, which I think I would have been successful in doing it, and then still be able to mount here and here like the 301s mount. But I started looking at the amount of time it was going to take me to build the plate, whether or not it was going to be successful, how much extra money I was going to put into this motor to do that, and everything else. So I finally came to the conclusion that I'd be better off just buying a good used K301 motor that was the original motor for this tractor anyway, which I would prefer to keep it somewhat original if I can. So I've got a K301 on the way. It's a rebuilt motor, and by the time it's in place, everything like that, I'm gonna probably come out $150 worse than I would have if I would have continued to screw around with this motor. I am though going to find the correct oil pan for this motor, because I don't think it's a bad motor, and I'm gonna put the correct oil pan on it. I'm going to clean up the existing starter. I'm going to do everything I can to get this thing running, at least on the bench. Once it's running, then I will put this thing up for sale for a very fair price to somebody who would want it. And then they can, with the total understanding of what I did to it, because I don't want to tell no fibs. So anyway, the guy told me he had put a 321 in it, so I don't feel like anybody was messing me over when I got it. And I knew this was going to be a project and a half anyway. But there it is, hoping to have the balance of this thing tore down tomorrow night. And then I'm going to, like I said, haul it into work, sandblast everything I can take with me that it's not going to hurt it to sandblast it, so I can at least get the frame and some of the major components in primer tomorrow night. And then not tomorrow night, but Thursday night, and then maybe Friday get some paint on the frame. So at least I'm that far along on the project, and then I can start looking at all the mechanical issues with it. I'll start working on this transaxle next. If I've got to rebuild the outer here on it, if it looks like I need to do that, I'll get the parts on order for that. That's not that expensive, and after reading, it shouldn't be that hard to do that. I'm definitely going to get a new seal for here. And then the tires are flat on it, but I'm planning on doing something special with the tires anyway, so I'm not worried about that. So anyway, that's where I'm at. She's moving along slowly but surely.